We're going to solve this LeetCode is subsequence in C++. Previously we've done it in Java. It's just going to look a tiny bit different, but given two strings s and t, we want to return true if s is a subsequence of t or false otherwise. So this string needs to be inside of here, and it needs to be in that order. We give it an example here you can look at. We're also given some more examples here and some constraints that are pretty important for this one. So we know we have to go through every character inside of the second string. We can do this in a for loop. We can do int, and we'll do ta. We can do t counter. This is basically just going to be what helps us go through our string t. We're going to want to run this as long as our ta is less than our t.length, and then we're going to have a ta++ so we can increment through all of this. Let's have an if statement in here, and this if statement is going to check whether the character at this s is equal to the character at our ta. We're going to make another int variable. We'll call this sa, and we'll set it equal to 0 because we want to increment this as well, because we want to go through this string just like we want to go through this one. However, it's not going to be incremented in the header. It's only going to be incremented in this if statement, because we only need to increment it if our s.char at, and then we pass in our sa, so the character in this string at the specific index, we need to see if it's equal to our t.char at, and we're going to pass in our ta. Now, if these characters are equal to each other, we're going to want to do two things. One of two things, either or. First, we want to see if our sa, which is the counter for the substring, is at the end. We can do this by saying if sa is equal to our s.length minus 1, and because remember, length is 1 less than index, so that's how we are able to compare the index given the length. So if sa is equal to s.length minus 1, well, we are at the end. We've incremented this to the end, meaning the substring should be in the string, and we're just going to want to return true. Otherwise, we'll go into an else statement, and inside of this else statement, what we're going to want to do is just increment our sa, because it means we're not at the end, however, the characters are equal to each other. Now, if we never return true in this for loop, we're going to eventually want to return a false. And that's pretty much going to be it, I believe. We can look at the constraints because this is pretty important. There's a possibility that our s length and our t length can be 0, or 1 can be 0 and 1 cannot be 0. If we look at our t.length, which is the string for the longer string, the one we're supposed to find our substring in, if it is 0, it's never going to run this for loop and it's always going to return false. If our s.length is 0, then we are going to want to return true. So we can have a special case right up here where we can say if our s.length is equal to 0, meaning it's empty, we want to return true as well. So let's submit this and see if we have any errors. And of course we have an error because I'm trying to convert it from Java to C++. This shouldn't be char at. When we deal with strings in C++, we deal with the index of the string and we treat it kind of like an array. So this should actually be s at our index sa. And this one should also be t at index ta. That's how we would get the specific characters at these indexes relative to the strings. That'll pass with a runtime of 3 milliseconds, and we have a memory of about 7 megabytes. So not too bad either way, and hopefully that's really easy to understand. If you have any questions about is subsequence, leave a comment below. And if you want more C++ LeetCode, check out that playlist link below the like button.